Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about my top 3 way too early sleepers for the 2023 fantasy football season. So, to define a sleeper for today's video, it is going to be any player going past pick 100 based upon current underdog average draft position. Now, obviously, this video is being recorded in March. The NFL draft hasn't even happened yet. Free agency is still going on, and things are going to change from now all the way up until late August or early September when you do your fantasy football draft. So again, this is just an early look into things. Before we could get into things, though, for today's video, I would like to ask that if you guys are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, that you please make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure that you do leave a like on today's video. It would help me out a ton. If you want to follow me on Twitter, please do so at NotoriousFantasy. So without further ado, let's get into my top 3 way too early sleepers for the 2023 fantasy football season. So we begin at number 1 with Dillon, running back of the Green Bay Packers. Current ADP on Underdog Fantasy, running back 36 at pick 113. Now, I know if you guys have been watching my channel over the last couple of years, and more specifically last season, I was way off on Dillon. I didn't want anything to do with Dillon. Now, based upon what happened last season, my assessment on Dillon was 100% correct. I thought that it was ludicrous. It was crazy that people were drafting Dillon as high as they were. There were drafts where you would see Dillon go as high as the 5th or 6th round. And while the guy has all the talent in the world, he has the quads, everyone likes to talk about him. He is a very fun player and a very talented player. At that ADP, you would have had to do some galaxy brain thinking, some mental gymnastics into talking yourself into the fact that he was going to somehow eclipse Aaron Jones, which didn't end up happening. But now, because people probably feel burnt on Dillon, he has fallen past pick 100. He is not even a top 32 running back selection in fantasy football. And the way I think of Dillon for fantasy football this season is that he is a guy that I know Aaron Rodgers is gone. I know that it's going to be Jordan Love at quarterback. But even with Jordan Love, Dillon is still going to be seeing a bunch of touches and get some opportunities to catch passes every single game. It's not like Aaron Jones is this clear workhorse running back. They want to work both of them in. So Dillon is a guy that if there's an injury to the running back on your team, or one of your running backs on your team, or you're on a bye week, you can play Dillon. Obviously, you're not ecstatic to do it, but you could throw him into your lineup and he could end up smashing in any given game, especially if Jordan Love is able to take this offense to a respectable level. And then if something was to happen to Aaron Jones, knock on wood, we do not root for injuries, but if something was to happen to Aaron Jones, then Dillon could be catapulted into potentially being a top 10, top 12 running back for fantasy football. I like to think of Dillon as the best handcuff in fantasy football, but you are getting him at a cheap price. Last year, again, you had to draft him super early. Tony Pollard, excellent handcuff. You had to draft him last year, more than likely even higher than pick 113. So I think Dillon is in a really good spot right now. Last year, again, a pretty decent year. Nothing to scoff at. Not a bad season, but just didn't live up to the expectations of where people drafted him. RB 25.5 PPR on the season, running back 36.5 PPR points per game, tied with Brian Robinson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Cam Akers. Playing in 17 games on the season, he had 186 carries, 10.9 per game, number 27 at running back, 770 rushing yards, 45.3 per game, 31st at running back, 43 targets, 2.5 per game, 24th, 28 receptions, 1.6 per game, 30th, 206 receiving yards, 12.1 per game, 32nd, and 7 total touchdowns, number 19 at running back. So again, my viewpoint on Dillon is that he is one of the best, if not the premier handcuff at the running back position. I think that while obviously Aaron Rodgers is miles above what Jordan Love is right now, could Jordan Love be good enough to where Dillon excels in fantasy football? I believe so. And again, even when Aaron Jones is healthy, you could still feasibly throw A.J. Dillon in, hope he scores a touchdown that game, and be relatively fine. Again, he's not a guy that I'm screaming to the mountaintops that he's going to be a top 12 running back. It would require an injury for that to happen, but I think at value, where you're drafting him right now, he is a huge value in fantasy football drafts. At number 2, we move to Damien Harris, running back of the Buffalo Bills. ADP running back 47, pick 150.4. I do believe, though, that his ADP is going to continue to move up and up the board, closer to becoming closer to A.J. Dillon, in my opinion, after his move from the Patriots to the Buffalo Bills. Again, all this ADP that I'm talking about is from Underdog Fantasy. If you are a new user on there and you click on the link in the video description, you'll receive a $100 first match deposit bonus. You deposit $100, they'll give you an additional $100. If you deposit $50, they'll give you an additional $50. So make sure you guys do check that out. Link in the video description. I love doing drafts on there, and that's why I like talking about fantasy football so early, because I can actually take what I'm talking about and apply it to drafts right now, and I don't have to wait all the way till late August, early September. So again, back to Damien Harris. Last year, pretty down year for him, running back 48.5 PPR. In 2022, running back 56.5 PPR points per game, playing in 13 games on the year with 9 starts, 106 carries, 9.6 per game, number 42. 463 rushing yards, 42.1 per game, 44th. 23 targets, 2.1 per game, 54th. 17 receptions, 1.5 per game, 50th. 97 receiving yards, 8.8 per game, 63rd. And 3 total touchdowns, number 47. Now, when the news initially broke about Damien Harris, I started thinking about things, and while I like Damien Harris more than James Cook, I wasn't super excited, because the Buffalo Bills are a team that want to use multiple running backs, and they also have a quarterback that is impossible to stop on the 1-yard line. So if they're on the 1-yard line, all they have to do is have Josh Allen jump over, fucking 360 slam-a-jamma, Michael Jordan in fucking NBA. Was that movie? Not NBA Jam. That's the video game. Oh, Space Jam. You know what I'm talking about? Where he like Stretch Armstrongs his arm and yams that shit in. That's what Josh Allen has to do, right? It's very easy for him. He can get a lot of touchdowns at the goal line, so that limits the upside of a player like Damien Harris. But the more and more I thought about things, while I am still not elated with the fact that Damien Harris is going to be this top 24 running back or something, at price, running back 47. I understand it's going to raise, and even if he gets close to being where A.J. Dillon's ADP is right now, running back 36, I still like Damien Harris a ton, because while I was a Devin Singletary fanboy last year, it put me into a thought process when I started thinking about these things, right? I think Damien Harris is better than Devin Singletary. Yeah, I talked up Devin Singletary last year. So why would I not like Damien Harris, who is much cheaper and is better than Devin Singletary? Again, this is a team that is going to be scoring points out of the ass game in and game out. This is a team that loves to score points. They have one of the best offenses in all of the National Football League. So again, while I am not in love necessarily with the fact that this is going to be a committee, right? It's not like Damien Harris is going to go out and catch 50 fucking balls. That's not going to happen. But could he score 12 touchdowns? Could he get 800 rushing yards and be a huge steal at where he's going right now? Of course. Of course. And based upon this take, hopefully you kind of garnered my opinion as well on the fact that while I like Damien Harris, I don't really like James Cook. I've been someone who's faded James Cook in early drafts right now, and I feel like Albert Einstein. I feel like a genius, because I really do think that Damien Harris is going to be the guy getting a majority of the work there. Now, again, James Cook's still going to catch passes. They're still going to give James Cook the ball because he's incredibly fast. It's not like Damien Harris is as fast as James Cook. But if you're looking from what he's done as a Patriot, I really do think Damien Harris is deserving of a role in the NFL. He's a very talented runner, and hopefully this isn't the same trap I fell into with Devin Singletary last year, but I am really excited about Damien Harris right now. Final player to talk about in my way too early sleepers. We got another guy that just moved in free agency, Adam Thielen, wide receiver of the Carolina Panthers, ADP wide receiver 70, pick 156.2. Now, last year, I was also a big Adam Thielen guy. I thought he was going at an immense discount. I really thought the Vikings offense would be good, and they were, but Adam Thielen was just not great last year. Let's call a spade a spade. He wasn't good last year for fantasy. Now, he still had if you look at the stats, you'd be like, oh, decent year, right? But just not what I expected. But where he went based upon ADP, it wasn't like a huge swing and a miss. Wide receiver 30.5 PPR in 2022, tied with Mike Williams. Wide receiver 44.5 PPR points per game, tied with Curtis Samuel and Cortland Sutton. He played in 17 games on the year, having 107 targets, 6.3 per game, number 28 at wide receiver, 70 receptions, 4.1 per game, 29th, 716 receiving yards, 42.1 per game, 42nd, and 6 total touchdowns, number 20 at wide receivers. In terms of some interesting efficiency stats that I pulled together for this video, 288 total route wins, third at wide receiver, 46.5% total route win rate, 15th percentile, or 15th at wide receiver. So now, I know Adam Thielen didn't have a great year. I know Adam Thielen's 1 year older, right? Adam Thielen is getting up to the age where people might start panicking about Adam Thielen. He's no longer the spring chicken. But when you look at the Carolina Panthers wide receiver core and you understand the situation they're in, right? They had to pay the mother load back up the Brinks truck to acquire the numero uno pick in the 2023 NFL draft. They had to ship off DJ Moore. They had to ship off all of these assets to the Chicago Bears. So while the wide receiver core for the Carolina Panthers could get slightly better, we're probably looking at a similar core to what I described right now. The Panthers wide receiver core: Adam Thielen, Harris Marshall Jr., Shi Smith, and Laviska Shenault. So, when you're looking at that, it looks fucking disgusting. They're obviously going to draft a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick. At this point, I don't know who it's going to be. I think it's going to be CJ Stroud, but it seems like we might get thrown in a whirlwind, if that's even a correct term. But you get what I mean, right? We might get led astray. All right? They might draft Bryce Young. They might draft Anthony Richardson, which I think would be stupid to draft Anthony Richardson, but maybe they will do that. They also have Hayden Hurst. But again, they don't have the draft capital to go draft a first-round wide receiver. They don't have the draft capital to draft these early-round wide receivers. So while Adam Thielen is aging, while Adam Thielen doesn't look at the prime of his career, I think anyone with fucking 2 eyes that can see correctly would realize that, right? So it's not a hot take, but I do think that when you look at that wide receiver core again, Adam Thielen, Terrace Marshall, Shi Smith, Laviska Shenault, and Hayden Hurst, the tight end. The best wide receiver on this roster is Adam Thielen by a mile. By a football field. My stomach just growled. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit hungry. Hopefully you didn't hear that. But Adam Thielen is on a whole nother level. So again, while the Carolina Panthers, it might look a little gross, right? The quarterback might start slow. And I understand his ADP is going to move. But yeah, I just have to be in on him. I have to buy back in because I believe in the talent. And he is the only talented motherfucker besides Hayden Hurst in this wide receiver core. He just is. So he's going to see a shit ton of volume. And I believe heavily in that. Thank you guys all so much for watching. If you did end up enjoying, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below as well as hitting that like button. It would help me out a ton. The draft is coming up in around a month in April. Super excited about that. I'm super excited for the summer because that's when things start picking up, right? Right now, I'm making these videos. I'm having fun talking about things, but we're going to be seeing a load of content coming your way in the summer. I love you guys so much. Deep down in my heart, it means everything in the world to me that you guys watch my videos. It means everything to me. I love you guys all so much. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your guys' day. We're coming up on the weekend, knocking on the door. March Madness, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Excited for that. I love you guys. Hope you guys have a great rest of your guys' day. And as always, good boy.